The previous sections of this presentation showed the flexibility of VMS and the ease of use by both volunteers and admin personnel. The many options available are possible by having a very detailed and thoughtful configuration and setup. This configuration and setup section will go through the steps taken to create a volunteer management system, or VMS, that is unique to your school district or nonprofit organization. This is the configuration and setup screen. Let's first take a look at setting up and identifying all the schools and activities for which volunteers will be signing up. From this screen, you add, edit, and delete schools. To see the information about a school, let's edit Golden View Elementary by clicking on the radio button next to it. At a glance, we see that Golden View is a Type E for elementary. Of the 8 volunteer types or activities that the district has established, Golden View has 7 available to volunteers. This means that when the volunteer selects Golden View at the online registration, the 7 checked activities will be available for them to select, and volunteer coaches will not be displayed as a selection. You will note that an admin person who has access to this screen can add new volunteer types. Clicking on Add New Volunteer Type displays this screen and provides the space for entering the name of the activity in the box labeled Volunteer Type, describing the youth who will be served and an overview of the activity. When the new volunteer type is added, it will be displayed here along with the existing volunteer types and will default to being checked. It will also be added to all other schools in the district, but the default in other schools will be unchecked. It will not be available at other schools unless the specific school is opened and the volunteer type box is checked. In the lower left section of the screen are the active school site coordinators and those who were active at one time and are now inactive. Active coordinators are those who get notifications when a new applicant applies to his or her specific school, when a volunteer has completed the background clearance, or in several other routines where it is desirable to copy the school site coordinator on correspondence. By clicking on the coordinator's name, a screen is displayed whereby his or her contact information can be edited. This screen displays contact information for the site coordinators assigned to schools. Volunteers have access to this contact information when completing the application and registration processes. Another screen is available to enter and update additional coordinator information such as cell phone, password, and other data pieces. This data is also used for VMS to copy school site coordinators on important messages sent to the volunteers. When finishing adding or updating volunteer types, as an example, a field trip driver, and adding or updating site coordinators, you can return to the list of schools to select another school by clicking on Back to Site Selection page, or you can return to the admin page. In addition to adding, viewing, and editing schools for which volunteers can sign up, other types of projects in which the district may have an interest can be created. These other projects or programs can be mentoring, tutoring, or other types of after-school programs. These projects are added into the district's volunteer system by clicking on Add New Projects. This screen is then displayed allowing tutoring and other projects to be described in detail. The Youth Participant and Project Overview boxes allow links, graphics, and photos that help describe the project. Once completing the new project form, the volunteer may see a screen such as this, showing a picture, description of the project, contacts for more information, and an Apply button for registering and sign up. The next issue for configuration and setup is to show how a volunteer selecting a specific volunteer type or activity has one set of clearance requirements, and a volunteer choosing a different volunteer type has a different set of clearance requirements. On this screen at the top, you will note Day Field Trip Driver under Approved Projects. Now if you click on Project Requirements Selected, you will see the requirements for that specific volunteer type has 7 requirements and includes additional requirements for a driver clearance. Only those clearance requirements checked will display on the volunteers' dashboards as tasks that need to be completed. Also, the 2 columns at the right Brief instructions and required documents are available at the volunteer's dashboard to assist in completing the clearance tasks. Now you can see that in the Approved Projects box is Overnight Chaperone, and clicking again on Project Requirements selected shows you a different set of clearance requirements. Notably, there are 4 requirements and none are driver requirements. This, of course, is reasonable since an overnight chaperone, in this case, needs a criminal background clearance but will not need a driver clearance. And one final example, now in the Approved Projects box, is General School Volunteer, and clicking again on Project Requirements selected provides yet a different set of requirements. In this case, at the volunteer's dashboard, the only requirement displayed will be in the sex offender check. Also, at this requirements screen, you have the opportunity to add and edit the written instructions given to the volunteer at his or her volunteer dashboard. For example, selecting the Edit button to the right center of fingerprinting displays the detailed instructions and process for the volunteer to get fingerprinted. The line labeled 1 tells them to click on the link to schedule their appointment, and the lines labeled 2 and 3 instruct them to download a form and to take it with them to the fingerprinting appointment. These instructions can be modified anytime. The column to the far right is where the documents referred to in the instructions are made available with either uploaded files or with URL links. When clicking on Documents and Files on the same row as fingerprinting, a pop-up is displayed where you can upload a file such as the Fingerprinting Live Scan form by browsing your computer, selecting the file and pressing the Submit button on the left. And on the right is the space for entering the URL link to which you want the volunteer to have access. In this case, the URL link is for scheduling fingerprinting appointments. Both the Fingerprinting Live Scan form and Appointment Scheduler are listed at the bottom of the pop-up. Both the Live Scan form and the Appointment Scheduler are available to the volunteers at their login dashboards. For some volunteer types, there may be a training requirement. Since Sports Coach is displayed in the Approved Projects box, you can set up a training schedule for it by clicking on Activities Training Schedule. For this volunteer type, several training locations and time of training are posted. At the volunteer dashboard, the volunteer is given the opportunity to sign up for trainings that have future training dates. If the dates are in the past, the training will not appear at the dashboard. The district office is selected here as the training location. At this screen, the training location info can be edited and dates can be added. At the volunteer dashboard, the volunteer can sign up for any trainings where the dates are in the future. Lastly, on this configuration page, I want to point out coordinator data and school access can be modified by admin personnel. Clicking on George Pascal in the Coordinators box displays his contact information and login ID. This data can be edited by admin, and via the Authorize button, the coordinator can be assigned access to additional schools and school projects. This screen displays the default school projects for which he is authorized. By clicking on the Add button at the bottom of the table, the coordinator can be given access to additional schools and projects. Thank you for taking the time to view this section of Be a Mentor's Volunteer Management System, or VMS. Be a Mentor, a nonprofit organization, is seeking partner relationships with school districts and other nonprofit organizations that are interested in increasing volunteerism with the highest degree of student safety and with great efficiency. School districts tend to increase volunteerism by fourfold with the implementation of VMS. One specific school district expected 2,000 volunteers over the first school year and had 20,000 volunteers register. To contact us or to request additional information, please click on the link provided on this page. It is our pleasure to serve you.